Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our next speaker, Antonio Perić-Mažar, presenting the topic, Are you failing at being agile?
So, as Josip said, my name is Antonio, and today I will talk about the Agile. So, about this talk, just to give you a brief introduction, don't expect anything like methodologies like Scrum, Kanban, or something. We will mention that, but I want to talk about common failures that company usually do. So, as Josip said, my name is Antonio. I'm from Croatia. I co-founded few companies. I have experience in building products, but my core business is still the position of the CEO in Locastic, which is digital agency. But we are not like regular agency where we are outstaffing people. We usually set up product development teams for the clients and building products with them. So most of my knowledge comes from actually the products. So when you ask people like, do you do Agile? Usually they will answer you, we are doing Scrum. We have like all the meetings, all the ceremonies, etc. Yes, we are doing like stand-ups, we are doing retrospectives, we are doing like planning, etc. But is it that really Agile? Like, is that what Agile is about? Usually my answer is like that's just meetings. Like the Agile is more than just that. So what's the Agile actually? I will give you two examples later, which you survived. One you survived, one we are living currently. But actually Agile is the how fast do you respond on the change. When something happens, you need to respond on that. And if you can be like if you can very fast respond to the changes, that's actually meaning that you are very agile. So agile is responding to the change. Let's talk a little bit about the markets, like especially today. Who's working in products? Like, can I see hands? I don't see anything actually, but okay, a few people in agency. Okay, like mix it 50-50%. So basically, when your customer says we need something new, you need to respond to that. If you don't do that, they will find your competition which will actually build that feature for them. And that's respond to the changes. That's respond to the market. Like market is faster than ever. If you are not following that, you will probably die in a few years. I'm sorry to tell you, but that's the truth. So the first big change that we had 4 years ago was COVID-19. So we had a lot of examples of the companies who didn't survive this, I think it was 2-year period of the lockdown, where everything went online and just companies stopped to work. Okay, some companies were not able to transfer their business online, but most of the companies were not prepared to set up the business online. So they were not agile, they were not prepared to respond to the change. So that was a huge mistake for that companies. Of course, now there is a different problem. There were companies like Google, Facebook, or etc. who overhired in COVID-19. So we have now different situation and different way of handling that, but that's not topic of this talk. Second thing is actually this. This is the next big example and part where we are living in. It's AI. Today we have like AI in literally in every aspect of our life. Like even if you are not developer, but if you are not using AI, you are probably slower than someone who is using that. So adopting AI in your everyday life, I'm not saying that AI will replace developers. I'm not going in that direction. I'm just saying that AI is increasing our productivity and using that as our like manager or as our assistant or something, it's definitely way to go today. So this is time where we need to adapt and we need to accept AI as something new. And who knows what will happen in 5 years, but we are living in time when like there is a lot of uncertainties that we need to accept. But if we go just a step back, there is Darwin theory, you are probably familiar, and that doesn't have anything related to the IT because IT didn't exist back then. But he said like there is the most it's not the most that intelligent that will survive, it's the one who is able to adapt faster. So basically this is the nutshell of the Agile. Like if you can adapt faster, if you can work together, and if you can deliver the value to the customers, we will survive. And that's basically the most important thing. So basically I decided to start this talk with few very common sense. I will talk about common sense later, but this is actually all the things that you need. You just need to deliver value to your customers. And if you are doing that, you are already good. So let's move forward. Let's move to reality of IT or software development. So usually when some company decided to go agile, the next step is to hire consultant people. That's how it goes. It's much easier to hire someone to train us, right? What's the problem with the consultant people? That is business. That's a huge industry. So there is very nice looks rent that I love it, which says like we are paying a lot of money for someone to teach us what is common sense of building the software. And that's true. Like if you bring someone to your company, doesn't matter if you are agency or if you are a product development company, they will start explaining you that Scrum probably is the solution for all the problems you have. That doesn't work, right? So instead of paying so much money for some evangelist or trainers or something, we just need to use common sense, which is, as I said, add value to your customers. And how we end up with this all consultant people. So who has retrospectives? Probably everyone, right? Does anyone play some stupid games at the retrospectives? Come on. Yeah, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, there is like enough. So there is like energy levels. There is 3 little pigs. And then there is my favorite, this one here, Kinder Surprise. Like, what the fuck? Literally. So you have adult people, engineers, like very intelligent people, and you try to get them to buy Kinder Surprise egg to bring it to the retrospective. This is from some company that is selling consulting in the Agile, so it's not a joke. I'm not kidding. So you're trying to get them to have a toy at a retrospective and to say how they feel in related to that toy in a recent sprint. Like, what's happening here? Like, obviously, now it's funny, but people are doing that. So usually in a retrospective, you have adult people, you have serious people. So what's wrong, what we need to improve, what's good, what we need to keep. Simple, plain simple. But of course, consulting people, they need to sell you something. As I said, we have common sense, we need to use it in software development. Unfortunately, we end up like weather, how do you feel, please give a face or something. I will give you one, please give a face example. So we work with one client, and a project manager from the client who was leading the team, she sent a message like, can you give me a face how you are feeling? So people send it like 3, 5, 2, and then she started asking people like with 2 or 3, like, why are you feeling bad? Because like obviously you only have a work in your life, so there is something related to the work. And guys responded to, I don't want to answer. First time, second time, third time, she pushed, and then he said like, I'm divorcing, I'm not feeling well, like please stop bothering me. So just stop playing you stupid games. Be serious. Be focused on what you actually need to deliver. Why this is happening? Because if you have a bigger company, as I said, it's much easier to hire consulting people and start building from top to bottom. Because if you are a manager or if you are CEO of the company, you will say we need to introduce some things. We need to introduce some agile methodologies. Then you will hire people and say, okay, this is way to go. But this is not how it works. You need to build it bottom up, because every aspect of your company needs to be on the same page. Sales, marketing, management, development teams, they need to be on the same page, and they need to have same core values of the company. So it's not about Scrum, it's not about Kanban, it's not about anything related to methodologies. It's about how we are delivering, how we are responding to the requirements from the customers, and how we are delivering value to them. So, as if there are some people who are leading teams or who are CEOs here, my advice to you is that don't stop giving the orders, just give more opportunity or more freedom to your leadership team and see how they will grow. Something good will happen, or if something bad's happen, you can always replace them. That's how the business works. But give them freedom to build actually something, and you will achieve much more instead of just leading everything from top to down. I will talk a little bit later more about hierarchy and how organization works, but this is just introduction for now. So let's talk a little bit about agile mindset. So first, I hate word mindset, because if you go on Instagram or TikTok, there are all these internet gurus, and they are only talking about mindset, etc. But this is actually a good word because we need to go back. We need to move from the practices back to the mindset. So there are 4 core values of the Agile, and mostly of them are like just focus on the customers, deliver a value, focus on working software, focus on responding to the change, customer collaboration, etc. But we forgot that. Instead we focus on Kanban, we focus on Scrum, etc., etc. So basically, Scrum became. I'm using mostly the word Scrum because if you start Googling or if you're researching the Agile, you will mostly end up with a Scrum. But that's the reason why I'm using it as an example. But that is just methodology. That's literally nothing. It's a framework that gives you like some ideas how to handle things in software development. But in the end, as I said on the previous, it's a mindset. Like you need to put this mindset in every aspect of your company. I will give you an example. If you're working in the development agency, how your team can be agile if your sales team still selling in an old way, a traditional waterfall way. It's impossible because they sold something with fixed price, with fixed budget, with fixed timeline, and now you need to be agile. That's impossible. So all the aspects of the company needs to be changed. So as I said, it's just common sense. Just add value, move forward. Add value, move forward. That's all. What is it about? So there is no plan. You will see later that I have slide. Plan is everything. Why there is no plan? Because we are living in 21st century, and customers are requiring you on a daily basis new features, and you need to respond under that. So something that you planned yesterday doesn't mean that it works today, or something that you played 2 weeks ago doesn't mean that that has some same priority as today. So you need to be able to respond to the changes, and you need to be able to change the plan. So the only thing that you have is actually your backlog, and your backlog is supporting your customers, and your customers are the king. Doesn't matter again, do you work in a product or you work in the agency. In agency is a little bit harder. Why? Because you have stakeholders and you have clients who are investors, and then you need to convince them that their customers are actually the most important people. Why? Because they are paying the money to your customer, and then your customer is paying you money. So it's a closed circle. They need to be aware about that. And one more thing today, if you don't have some feature, but your competition has, your customers will go to the competition. They don't have patience. They're just searching for the solution that they need right now. Like for example, I will just go very stupid example. If they want to send a message with a picture and you have chat application and you don't have sending images as an option, they will go to the WhatsApp or whatever. We are not living in a time where ICQ is the only chat message application, because nobody today is using ICQ because it was bad. Now we have WhatsApp, now we have Telegram, Signal, and all other things. So there is choices for your customers, and they will use it if you are not fast enough. Regarding methodology, so there are 2 things, and there is one thing is more stupid than talking about methodologies. It's that thing is like, which technology stack are you using? Like ask your mother or father or whoever who is older who is not in technology and who is using Facebook or Instagram, which tech stack are Instagram or Facebook are using. Who cares? Literally, who cares? They need to post picture on Instagram. Instagram is doing that. You want to send a message, WhatsApp is doing that. So who cares about the stack? It's the same with the methodology. Customers are expecting that you implement the things they are requiring. They don't care about Kanban. They don't care about PHP, JavaScript, Java, or whatever. They just care about what they are using in their mobile phones or web applications. So just stop bothering with it. Just use something that works for you, but we will talk about that a little bit later. I have 3 rules, which are, there is some blog post talking about these 3 rules. I forgot the link. I pulled it a few years ago, but things are still same. And first is the law of the customer. And that says that entire company needs to be obsessed with thing of adding value for your customer. Literally entire management, marketing, sales, etc. So you need to have someone who is Superman in your team. And does anyone knows who is the Superman in this situation. It's product owner. You know what's the problem with the product owner? Product owner needs to be independent person who can say no to everyone, but the person who also understands business, who understands marketing, who listens to the customers. I had a great conversation with Josip yesterday about this role, and this is like almost impossible role. Like there is more often case that you will not have capable product owner comparing to the role where you will have someone who is capable. And there is a lot of difference between these two roles. And it was from your company actually, Josip. Someone wrote the post on a LinkedIn a few weeks ago, and they were comparing project manager versus product owner role. And comparison was done in a way like, imagine that I need to play, that I have a band and I need someone, and I need to play here for 3 hours. What will project manager do? He has a budget. He has 3 hours we need to play. He will create a playlist of the songs. We will come here and we will play for 3 hours. That's project manager. He will organize everything and he will take care that everything goes smooth. What will product owner do is we will come here and then he will listen, or he will be watching every one of you, like when I'm asking you the question. And then he will move in a direction where you have a fun or you are dancing entire night on the floor. So that's a difference, and it's a huge difference. I'm not saying that project managers cannot be great product owners. That's something that probably goes with the years of the experience. But actually, that's what product owners do. He's listening and he's accepting the feedback and improving the things, product or songs or playlist or whatever. And the difference is huge. Don't get messed with these two roles. One more thing that we need to be aware is there is no right way of building the software. So probably everyone who is doing development or who is the leading team, you probably Google it, what's the best way of building the software. There is no answer. There is no silver bullet. Why? Because building the software is actually, this is great explanation, but it's actually like you need to, it's very complex calculation. You need, because every team is different, every client is different, every project is different. So you need to combine all these things and then you need to adjust to that. So it's a huge compromise of the things that you have. And then you need to do as best as you can with the team or client or requirements or whatever, budget, what you have to build a great software. So even if you have same company, two different teams, same methodology, same skill level, they will probably perform different. There is, as I said, there is no silver bullet. So you need to be aware of this also when you are building a software or creating the teams. This is also one of the common mistakes, because when you say to someone, we are using waterfall, they will say that's not agile, that's old methodology, you need to stop doing that. I will give you one example that is not software development. Is there anyone who built a house? Like literally, there's 4 people, 6. When you build a house, you started by searching for the land, then you bought the land. That's the first phase. Second phase was probably preparing a project, blueprints, etc., right? And then you started building. Each of these phases was probably chaotic as hell, and it was more agile than any project that you build in a software development. So we cannot say that, because I'm currently completing one construction building, and each phase is disaster. Like you need to go there and you need to change things at the place. Like this wall is not high enough, it's not wide enough, change it, adjust the plans, etc. That's agile. I'm responding to the changes. But it's a waterfall. It cannot be done in a different way. So there are some software development projects, especially, for example, funded by European Union. You need to prepare a project, you need to build a plan, you need to write everything down, and then once you get funding, you can start building. And then you can do that in iterations and you can adjust to the changes that are happening. So waterfall can also be agile. This is also a very good graph that I love it, because it says that different methodologies works in a different environment. What this says? It says If you have a very simple or slightly complicated project, but we know what is happening, it's much easier to build it in a waterfall way because we can plan it. We know what will happen. We know what's the outcome. But if we are not know where we are going, or we need to explore the situation, we need to explore the market, and we need to explore product, maybe the Agile is better. Maybe the Scrum is better. But if you have very chaotic system, and if there is some product owners or product managers here, and they took over some team that was very chaotic, there is no way that you will build it in a Scrum. Literally, there is no way. You need to use something like Kanban. Why? Because you need to fix highest priority thing first, and that's how it works. You take it where the pain is the biggest, you fix it, and you move forward, and that's perfectly okay. So there is no solution for every problem. You just need to adjust, and that's again Agile thing. Also, when we are talking about customers, there is a lot of companies that are working a lot, not delivering anything, not putting any value to the market, and they are failing, which is like, again, common sense, right? But we need to focus on adding, like I will say, small victories. Like if you can add something that has small requirement from your side, or you will spend small amount of the time, but will add great value to the customers, that's the things that you should conquer first. If there is something that is not adding the value, but you will spend like weeks, you just need to skip that and focus on the small wins. And actually, these small wins will lead you to the best product ever, to the most satisfied customers. So this very simple graph, which looks like that my younger daughter wrote it, it's amazing thing. Just put the features there. Like we need to invest 4 weeks and we will get nothing from this. Just skip it. We need to invest 2 days and we will get, I don't know, happy customer. Build it. Very simple. Okay, I'm banalizing a little bit things here, but actually it's a good idea to start. Let's talk about a little bit about organizations. So if you are working in a large organizations or enterprise companies, probably you will be on the left side. The problem on the left side, I'm not saying it doesn't work. I'm saying what the problem is. And the problem is that when you want to fix something, you need to go from the bottom to the top, then top to bottom to get approvals, etc. When you are working in an organization that is more agile, you can do some changes by yourself inside your team, which should be small. I will talk about teams later. So that's much faster, that's much easier, because you don't need to ask for approval and wait for probably 4 weeks or 5 weeks to get the approval from the top. Because as you can see in bureaucratic organization, there is not just one level of the management, it's like multiple levels, and they all need to agree on the things, which is very slow today in 21st century. So yeah, let's talk about the teams. So teams in Agile environment, they need to be small, they need to focus on adding values, that will be probably next slide, and they need to be cross-functional. And there is one common mistake when people hear cross-functional, that doesn't mean that everyone does everything in a team. Like that means the team can deliver a feature. It doesn't mean that all of you are designers, product owners, project managers, developers, etc. You need to know who is inside your team, expert per user experience, who is leading the product, who is developer, who is deploying, who is handling the servers, etc. So cross-functional teams means you can deliver a feature, not that you are all experts in some field. And this is actually very important thing. So small teams need to focus on adding. If you have a huge problem, you need to divide and conquer. So that was the strategy probably from the Roman Empire. So you need to divide it into smaller problems. Each problem needs to add value. And once you divide it, you need to start delivering piece by piece in short cycles. If you are trying to add value in 6 months or 1 year, and then you will deploy once you solve all the problems, that's slow. That there is no feedback from the customers. You are not adding any value. You are not adding actually nothing. They don't see improvement, and that's a huge problem. So that's the reason why I told you I have the slide where no planning, but be good in planning. When I say be good in planning, keep your backlog clean, keep it with priorities, and listen to your customers. So once you get a feedback, it's a normal thing to change priority, but the top thing or the most valuable thing for your customers needs to be first, and you should focus on that. Also, the problem with top level hierarchy is communication. So I think my next slide, yeah, this is a better slide. So I don't like too much text on my slides, but yeah. So the first thing is mostly traditional enterprise companies. It goes top-down management. Second picture is like small agile teams. When you have team like maybe 2 teams of 7 people, company of 50 people or something like that. But then things are going forward. Like if your company starts to grow and you have 100 people, probably you are somewhere here at number 3, which is agile teams under supervision of some management or CEO levels. This is actually something that we all need to try to achieve, but it's not easy. It's not even the best situation that you want to be there, because it can be very chaotic. It can be anarchy in some way. So I will say being between 3 and 4, it's ideal situation. But if you are in 3, you are in good place, because probably there is only few companies that will achieve true 4 agile network. What that means? That means that entire company inside every team is the only focus is adding the value to the customers, and they are communicating between the networks, sharing the ideas, sharing the information with the same goal of adding value to the customers. So probably if you are working in some huge company like 100 plus people, you will be very happy if you are at number 3. Oh, estimations. So there was one very nice quote on Twitter that I read a few years ago, and they said, like, if the pilot does wrong estimation, someone gets killed, died, whatever, plane will crash. But if software developers do the wrong estimation, what happens? Literally nothing. Okay, we did the wrong estimation, let's fix it, let's move forward, and like, it's okay thing. That was probably more acceptable 2 years ago comparing to today, because now there is not that much money in the market, so things are a little bit different. But there are a few things very important about projects. So if you have fixed scope, if you have fixed deadline, if you have fixed budget, you cannot talk about the agile. Why? You all know when you are building a product, when you are building any project, there will be changes. And if changes happen, you need to stop in this situation. You need to stop. You need to respond to the changes in a way you will do a new estimation, and you will spend probably a few weeks on that. In the agile way, if some new requests happen, you just need to accept it and adopt it. So doing agile in this way, and you can do Scrum, you can do Kanban, you can do waterfall, whatever you want. In this way, that will not work. It will be just imagination of the agile, because there is no single way, if you have all the things fixed, that you can accept the changes, that you can do something new. That doesn't work. And so why this is very important thing, you need to involve your team from the day 0. They need to be, there is no way, as I said at the beginning of my talk, if you didn't change the way how you are selling your products or your services, or how your management is thinking, there is no way that your development teams will be agile. So you need to involve development team from day 0 to give estimates, to give plans, to give some approximation how or what they are expecting that will happen. I'm not saying that they will be exact 100%. It's just thing that will help you to get better product. This is something that we were using a few years ago. Now it's much more improved. But when we start talking with the clients, like especially in the discovery workshops, I always say there is a wish list and there is MVP list. Why there is wish and why there is MVP list? Because clients wants to have everything. Like they think that they are building, I don't know, space shuttle, but actually they need a bicycle. And when they tell you that at the first meeting, you are like, you need $1 million at least. But when you start talking with them, and then when you start showing them that some feature will cost, I don't know, $5,000 or euros, doesn't matter, their wish list starts to be realistic, because they know how much money they have. So MVP is actually, in the end, product that will work and will fit their budget. So it's just the way how you are talking about. And there is no project with no deadlines and a budget. Even if you are working in a product, at some point someone will ask you, like, you spend $1 billion, you didn't deliver anything, what is happening? This is not related to the agency, this is related to the life. That is how it works. There is no unlimited money and time. Why focusing on the MVPs? I already touched this point. As I said, like, clients wants to build space shuttle, but they maybe just need a bicycle to go from point A to point B, and that's exactly the sorry, the picture on the bottom. So you need to solve problem that they have at the beginning, even if you are if you are building product or if you are building agency, and then you need to focus to improving that. So we have some clients that we started working 7 years ago with small MVPs, and then we now adding more features for 6-7 years, as I said. But that's what their customers are looking for. So we are just listening and adding more features, and everybody's happy. Our customers are earning more money, we are getting more work, and it's a closed circle again, as I mentioned before. Okay, this is, again, as I said, my core business is the agency. So how to implement this everything in the agency? You need to build a trust. It's very hard with a new client to tell them, like, we will not work on a fixed pay, because our mind works in a different way. If you go to buy a car, or if you are building a house, you want to know how much that will cost. And that's what clients are requesting, like, how much this will cost. And after a while, you need to build a trust in a way. We are adding the value each time when we deliver something, and you are paying us for that value, not for the time that we spend. It's very complicated situation, but it's very achievable. And the key thing is build a trust. Okay, in this that I was speaking for last 35 minutes, I was talking mostly about adding the value. But if we are just adding the value, at some point everything will crash, because we will be too much focused on adding the value. So refactoring, organization, retrospectives, etc. will probably suffer at some point. So it's very hard, but it's very hard to keep the balance. So you need to add the value, but you also need to track what is happening with your code base, what is happening with your architecture, and how much money you are spending on that, because very easily you will end up with, like, bankruptcy or something. So we have one client that focused only on growth, and in the end they bankrupt at the beginning of this year. They're still fighting, but it's almost done thing. Because they focused too much on one thing and they didn't watch the entire picture, and that cost them a lot of money. So you need also to balance between code quality, refactoring, and if you are product owner, you also need to be aware of this. It's not just all about adding value. At some point you need to give time to your teams, but also team need to raise this issue and say, like, okay, in the next sprint we will need to refactor some things. We have some technical debt that is costing us a lot of money, and we need to fix that. And it's perfectly okay to slow down a little bit, fix the things, and then continue adding the value. Break the rules. This is a very important thing, because, as I said at the beginning of the talk, usually people go, Google it, and then they found a Scrum and they implemented everything by the book. And after a few weeks or months, whatever, they notice that they have a lot of problems. For example, people are spending too much time on meetings, they are not working, they are not delivering, they don't know what to do, etc. I'm not going with the slides, but I remember the thing with the consulting people and training people. I'm not saying that hiring someone to train you or give you advice is a bad thing. I'm just saying that using the common sense and understanding who are you hiring for that and what's their background experience is very important thing. So break rules, try experiment with some other things, try to adjust. For example, Scrum is a just framework. Try to adjust it to your needs. And if that means that you will remove Scrum Master, perfectly okay. If that means that you will remove the daily startups, but you're still adding value and delivering on a daily basis, perfectly okay. If that means that you are not using Scrum after a while and you call that, I don't know, Antonio, but that works for you, perfectly okay. So don't be the slave of the frameworks or procedures, etc. Just be focused on adding the value, having happy development teams, and delivering in a phased way. Yeah, this is that slide. As I said, I mentioned this already, but there is no one thing that fits all companies, all teams, even the different teams inside your company. So if you use the Scrum by the book and you are using in your company, and maybe that works for you, but in my company that doesn't work for some sense, and we adjust it, we change it, that's again perfectly okay thing. So it's more about principles than methodologies. So if you try to implement, there was one good thing that they did in Locastic, which I'm very happy about. It was that was like 8-9 years ago, when we started experimenting with agile methodologies. One of my lead PMs, he said, like, let's ignore all the tools. Let's move them. Let's not pick Jira or I don't know, whatever people are using. Let's focus on the processes and how we are actually doing the things. And then we didn't have any tool for a few months. We just focus on adding the value, making our customers happy, and making our development team happy. And that worked. That was a good experiment. That worked. We kept that. And then we found a tool that was a perfect fit for the processes that we built. So we didn't go out and pick the tool and then adjust it to that, because that would be like suicide probably. We went it in a different direction. So that's way to go. Be agile with the agile. So as I said at the beginning, you need to build it from bottom to the top. And usually people forget that, and they are agile only inside development team. But you need to be agile in every aspect of your company. You need to do retrospectives in your management level. You need to do retrospectives in your sales team, etc. So the sales is the most agile team that you have probably in your company. Why? Because they need to adjust in any change that is happening in the market. Was it COVID-19? Was it now new situation with AI or etc. They need to adjust in a way how they are talking with the people, how they are selling the things. So, and basically when they get to respond talking with someone directly, they also need to adjust to that. And be agile with the agile slide is about, like, do retrospectives about how you are leading the company, how you are leading the team, make some changes, try some improvements, and move forward with that. I probably said that already at the beginning, that the slide with the 4 points of the agile is, if you have just procedures and if you have just framework implemented and you don't have agile in every aspect of your company, it will be just a lifeless set of the ceremonies. And that's basically a truth. If you say we are doing Scrum and doing that just to fit to the Scrum idea, and all meetings that is have, that doesn't mean anything. You will still be very old. What will usually happen to you that you will mask it and then you will do scrums in some iteration, but you will still be not able to respond to the changes, because when changes occur, your team will say, we have a sprint, we plan on this, we need to wait for 2 weeks. 2 weeks in a software development, especially with the AI today, is a lot of time. And I will stop here. Like, if you have some questions, we have 3 more minutes. What I wanted to give you a message is, it's just experiment with the things, try something new. Don't bother with, I will say now, traditional frameworks, because even the Agile Manifesto and Scrum exist for probably 20 years. So we probably need to improve that and find something new. So it's perfectly okay to try something new to see if that works for you. If that doesn't work, just try something new. That's also respond to the change. That's also the agile way of the thinking. So thank you. If there are some questions, I will allow to answer them.
Thank you, Antonio. Great talk. Do you have any questions? We have 3 minutes to answer a couple of them. Okay, we have one. Andre, yeah, we're gonna go to those if there are no questions from the audience.
Can we share them on a screen? Okay, so the first one is, what do you suggest to the teams try to build bottom and failed? People are not perfect, they don't take ownership. Okay. Do you want ugly or polite answer? Ugly. Okay, let's go with the ugly. And my personal opinion. So I think that in the good times, in especially last decade of the IT, all the companies overhired people. and we hired a lot of people that are not capable to stay in the pace that technology is moving. And then that people achieved in a level of the companies, and they got to the positions which is team leads or people leads or whatever you call it. And now we are living in a time which are very hard, and we are expecting from that people to do actually some serious work, and that people are not capable. I'm not talking about anyone particularly, I'm talking in general of our industry. So if you want, this is actually a great question, because if you want to build from bottom up, you need to have capable people on each position that will take ownership, and more important, they will take responsibility of delivering that thing. And I honestly hope, but that's just my hope, that's the reason why I said it will be an answer, because once the market moves forward and things starts to be good again, we will again start hiring everyone. So the thing, we will not learn anything from this cycle. It is just a cycle. Don't be too depressive or something like that. It's a normal cycle in an economy. Things goes up and down. But I think we need to pick better people that we are giving the responsibility to lead someone, and that will fix a lot of things. But that's hard part of the business. It's much easier to write the code. That's where we are living.